Hello everyone, this is Just a Dad. Today I'm going to do a review on this Anker 733 power bank. So I recently took a flight out to California. This is the only charger I took and it worked great. Now what's nice about this is it's also a battery pack also, but if you plug it into the wall, it acts as a charger, but if you just need some battery power to charge up your devices without having it plugged in, it also does that. So it does come with this USB-C to USB-C cable. That's very nice. And it comes with this bag. So I threw everything in this bag, and this is what I put in my carry-on. So here I got an iPhone 13 Pro, and I've got a MacBook Air that I'm going to show you how fast it charges each one of these. I also have a Samsung S22 Ultra, and I'll show you that it does ultra-fast charging with it. So first off, this does have a little bit of weight to it, but not much. It feels like it's very well made. This is very nice. So when you want to plug it in, this is a battery inside here that you're going to charge up, but it can also act as a wall power output. So it also acts like one of these. When you plug it into the wall, you get power out. That's the same thing here. But if you don't have a plug-in, you also get power out to charge things like this. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do, you're going to want to charge this up first. So plug it into an outlet, then these 4 lights are going to come on to let you know the status of the charge. Now the lights are a little hard to see, but you'll see that it's charging. And this one does take a little bit to get it all charged, fully charged. It took about an hour and a half, almost 2 hours to get it fully charged. Okay, so once you've got it fully charged, now it acts like a battery bank. And again, you can press this button it'll show you the status of the charge. So see, it's all the way charged up. Now it does have a special feature. If you double press it, this little green light comes on, and it's supposed to put a trickle charge out the USB-C port. I haven't used that yet. I pretty much just used full fast charging coming out. So I press it again. So if that green light is not on, that means that trickle charge is not activated. Now you're going to get the highest output on these USB-C ports. This USB-A has power out also, but the highest wattage is out of these USB-Cs. So I'm just going to plug in, normally you would plug in your cable from here to your phone. I'm going to throw this device in there. It's going to show me what the power coming out of it is. So it's just an inline device that you won't be using. Now let's plug it into the phone. iPhones are very hard to tell if they're fast charging. This one does not have much charge. So let's take a look at the voltage. Now I know this is fast charging an iPhone because it's putting out 9 volts, 0.86 amps. And if you give it just a little bit of time, the amperage is going up to about 1.4. And now it's gone up even just a little bit more. After just about 30 seconds, it goes up to almost 2.2 volts. That's roughly same as a 20-watt charger. That's about the maximum an iPhone can take. So it will fast charge an iPhone without it even being plugged into the wall. Okay, so now let's use it to power up. Again, I'm just using the battery inside of here. Let's use it to power up this MacBook Air. You do have to use a pretty heavy-duty cable, USB-C to USB-C. Okay, so with the battery bank plugged into the MacBook Air, I'm getting out 19, almost 20 volts at 1.42 amps. And if I go to the system information, it says the battery is connected, the charger is connected and it's charging at 30 watts. Right there, it says 30 watts. So again, that's just using the battery in here. Now let's plug it into a wall and use it like a standard power output. And then we're going to bump it up even more. So as soon as I plug that in, the MacBook charging went up to 65 watts. So now by plugging this into a wall outlet, I've got 19, almost 20 volts at 2.13 amps. So to get the full 65 watts out of this, I do have to have it plugged into a wall socket. But as soon as you unplug it, it goes down to 30 watts. Now it says it has a 10,000 milliamp hour battery inside. So on my trip, this was enough to charge my iPhone twice and to get me some usable energy inside my MacBook. It wasn't able to charge a MacBook Air all the way from a dead charge after completely charging my iPhone a couple times. But you can get about 3 iPhone charges and some MacBook Air time. So even though this is a big battery, you are limited on how much power comes out when it's not plugged in. But the nice thing, so I was always constantly plugging this back in. So as soon as I found a wall outlet, I would just plug it back in and it charges the battery inside and gives you power out at the same time. Okay, so I also had a Samsung S22 Ultra. Let's plug it in and I'll show you that it does ultra fast charging on the Samsung. Well, it's called super fast charging. So super fast charging on the Samsung. Now that's with it plugged in. Let's unplug it, and I still get that super fast charging coming from the battery inside of here. Super fast charging. So for the Samsung product, it's 9.38 volts coming out at 2.2 amps. So here's the specification sheet that comes in. So the input is 100 volts to 240 volts, 50 to 60 hertz, 1.63 amps. USB-C 1. You can also charge it. If you want to charge it through this USB-C cable, you can also charge it. I've never charged it through there. I've always just used the plug-in. So USB-C 1 and 2 are a little different. They have 5 volts. Both of them have 5 volts at 3 amps, 9 volts at 3 amps. USB-C 1 has 12 volts at 1.5 amps. USB-C 2 has 15 volts at 3 amps, 20 volts at 3.25 amps, which gives you 65 watts total. Now the most you can get out of the USB-C or the USB-A port is 22.5 watts. 5 watts, 3 amps, 9 volts, 2 amps, 10 volts, 2.25 amps, or 12 volts, 1.5 amp. Total output, no matter if you've got things plugged into here, is only 65 watts. So if I'm using the full 65 watts to charge my MacBook Air out of this USB-C port, it'll bump that down in order to get wattage out of these other ports. And that's when it's plugged in. When it's in battery mode, they call it. So when you don't have this plugged in, there's your outputs right there. 30 watts max out of USB-C 1 and 2. USB-C A, again, is just 22 watts. So when you don't have it plugged in, these USB-C ports go down to 30 watts max. Okay, so now I don't have it plugged in, but I've got it powering my Samsung phone and the MacBook Air. So instead of 30 watts now, it went down to 8 watts. And the Samsung phone switched to just fast charging, which is 5 volts at 2.37 amps. So when it's just plugged in to the battery portion, you don't get 30 watts out of each port. You only get 30 watts out of one port at a time. But the main thing for me was this was just so nice to use as a wall charger. Like when you're in the hotel room, plug it in and use it to charge your devices. Or if you're playing around on your devices, use it to power your devices. But then when I was on the plane, I used it as a battery and I was charging my phone only with it. It seems very well made. So I hope this video helps. Thanks everybody for watching.